Welcome to Honest Convos with Karen.
And Marcia. We're longtime biz besties bringing you along for the journey of building a business and life you actually want.
No fluff, no filters, just honest conversations about the highs, the lows, and everything in between.
So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's get into it.
Welcome back. First, I want to mention that our society has kicked off and the doors are officially closed, but Karen and I have just been so giddy over the response and just the excitement that the new members, the founding members, have had. And things are looking really good. So, this is going to be a great episode. We're going to talk about this is going to be more about strategy because when I was listening to our last podcast episode, Karen had mentioned, getting direct messages about content that she had made like 2 to 3 years ago. And when I first decided to go back out on my own after the full time employment situation, I was like, I really want to help these women who I know who are providing services and they're very talented and very skilled at what they're doing, but they're exchanging their hours for pay and they don't have like a content library and they don't have ways for people to kind of get to know them and their expertise besides doing like a live class or, a therapy session or whatever. So, I asked Karen if we could go off script and talk about evergreen content and just the importance and basically give some ideas of ways that you can create some evergreen material that you can use to help nurture your current audience or attract new clients. Karen?
No, this is such a good topic because it is. I mean, when you have like evergreen content that's doing the heavy lifting for you, like when your marketing is working hard, your sales become so much easier. Like there's like nothing better than someone DMing you like, "Hey, your video really resonated with me or I've been following you for a while and I really want to work with you. How do I get on your calendar?" I mean, that is like the best DM you ever want to see. And you're like, "Oh, here's the link. Let's get to talking." And then they get on the call and they're like, "Yeah, I love you. I've been following you. Your videos are resonating," or whatever content you're putting out, your blogs, your podcasts, whatever. And they're like, "So how do I work with you?" They don't even ask the cost. They're just like, "Invoice me, send me the thing." You're like, "What? This is like, I didn't even have to do anything." Like, I mean, you did. You put it into all the marketing, all the content. But that is like the best scenario. And so talking more about like how can you achieve that kind of dream outcome is like what we'll talk about today.
Yeah, one of the women that I met who is a grief counselor. So she helps people when they lose a loved one. She was just talking about her schedule and she doesn't have any help. She doesn't have any outside assistance. Like she's doing the scheduling, she's doing the insurance paperwork, yeah, like actually meeting with the people. And I just thought, like, oh my God, the amount of people that she could help. Cause like she's been doing this for decades. And I'm like, she could write a book and then do speaking engagements and be able to help so many more people. And I think that's really what, Karen and I like about evergreen content is like your reach is just wider. So you're able to make a bigger impact and help more people. So not to say that just because you did make this content that you should discount it. That's not at all. I think that everybody should have a different level of material. So like you could have the book, you could have an audio book, you could have downloadables, you can have all of these different ways where you're helping people. But yeah, so that was one situation. Then also the fem working mastermind we were in, I remember one of the people in my cohort, she was a personal trainer and she actually that was one of her things is she's like, "I need to have, like, a library," like, I wanna have, like, a membership, and I wanna have something where people can just kind of like binge my content or whatever. And so she started working on that, and then the pandemic happened, and it didn't completely derail her because she had already been on that path. And so it was, obviously like her doing different positions and workouts and everything. And then so people would, as a subscriber, you would get access to these different types of workouts. So I think that helped her psychologically, during the pandemic, and she still had money coming in from that and everything. So what are some examples you've seen, Karen? Or like what are some ways that people could do that?
Yeah, I love where you mentioned like having like multiple types of content out there. Like what you really want to think about is like if someone finds out about you, however they find out about you, like let's say you meet someone at an event, right? And they go Google your name, what are they going to find? Like, what rabbit hole can they go down? And what does that look like? Is it if it's a blog, maybe you have a website with a blog and they can just like read a bunch of articles, or your LinkedIn, you have a newsletter there, or, you can do that, or you have a Substack. I mean, again, it could work any kind of way: podcast, YouTube channel, your Instagram, having that like really set up and optimized almost like a website with your highlights kind of leading to like the same things like you're on a website navigation menu. Like you just really want to think about like if someone Google my name, like what do I want the rabbit hole to be that they go down? And I mean, it's more important now than ever. So I was just telling Marsha before this, I don't know how many people I probably mentioned, like my coach this, my coach that. I have like 20 coaches. I'm exaggerating, but I love to learn from people who are like doing the things I want to do. Cause I'm like, if you're already doing it and you're going to teach it to me, then I can be doing it. And so I've been really binging like over the last few weeks on this concept of trust recession. And so you'll probably start to see that pop up more because it has to do with AI and the proliferation of AI content, and like the ethics around that. Like, are people using AI and not telling us, and then we can spot it? Then there's this whole crusade against the M dash, which breaks my M dashy heart because I've been using M dash for like forever, by the way. Now all of a sudden it's an AI telltale sign. I'm like, or those of us who have used it for like all of their lives, maybe it's not. Like, I'm like so bummed about the death of the M dash. There's just people are now more skeptical than ever. Like when the internet first popped up, I think there was the whole like make money online, blah, and people were like, oh, that's a scam. Scam, scam. Then we went through a phase where people were like learning and seeing, all these influencers and Insta overnight, business celebrity people popping up. And so it's like, oh, maybe it's not a scam. Maybe you can actually make money online. Let's do it, right? Let's figure it out. Then it's like now, because of AI and just the fatigue of the market in general after being in this make money online world for a while, the trust recession is here. Like it's not really that you think people like it's a scam, but when you see content, you don't know if it's real. You don't know who originated, like who wrote this, whose creative work is this, whose brain did it pop out of? Or, was it Chatty G just, doing its own thing based on a prompt? So given that, the best thing you can do to really set yourself up like when you're thinking about evergreen content, in my opinion, is stuff that it's you, like you are creating it. We use AI to help us. I'm not saying AI is a bad thing, but like when you want someone to go down a rabbit hole and really binge and get to know you, because that's what's going to make them, oh, I like this lady, like she's pretty cool, she knows her stuff, she seems to really have it going on, she's the one I want to help me do XYZ. That's going to make the biggest difference between, someone hiring you. They have to first, like, that no like and trust is a real thing, like 100%. So, yeah, I don't know. I was rambling a bit, so hopefully some of that made sense.
No, I love it. And I do have a confession that I kind of went off about the M dash. And I was like, I just, because Carlin Ingram of Oh Snap Social, she made a post and she's like, "What are your guys' thoughts on the M dash now that?" I'm like, first of all, I didn't know that's what it was called. I was calling it like the long hyphen. And, like, before ChatGPT, I had never really it never really registered, and then somebody who is a writer was saying, like, "No, it's a way instead of doing, like, a colon, it connects the thought in a different," and so they explained it to me, and then, wouldn't you know, I started seeing it in books that I was reading, and I was like, "Oh, this M dash has been around for a while." But that trust recession, I haven't heard that at all, and I was a year ago, a couple months ago, I was saying, like, I think we're in the age of misinformation because there's so much out there, like with the algorithms and all of that, where, people are definitely more skeptical, but then also there's people who are just blindly believing anything that they say on, Al Gore's interwebs. And it is a scary time, but also, like you're saying, like having those different types of evergreen content, like ways that people can connect with you either by video, by audio, by written word, your newsletters, whatever, like having that. And we talk about like this is, marketing 101, but it's like having a brand. Maybe it's not 101, maybe for us because we've been in it for so long, but um, having that brand voice and that the way that you communicate in all these different ways, that's something that people get attuned to, and I feel like they can probably pick up on it easier. They're like, "Okay, Marcia didn't have any run-on sentences," and they'll be like, "I don't know if this was written by her," and, like, so it's funny, but, as much as I have, like, this self-doubt and the idiot complex about my writing and everything, I'm like, I write like I talk, and there's run-on sentences and everything, but I'm like, but that's my favorite mode of communication is writing, and I don't do it if I'm not in the flow. Coming up with that evergreen content, if you're a therapist, like looking directly into the camera, and it does take practice. Like I was looking at my TikToks from like 2022 and I was like looking at myself. And the number one thing people say is like, you want to actually look into the camera lens because then the person on the other side feels like you're actually like looking them in the eyes. So, just test it out. Like I actually have like an image that I cut out of a magazine. It was on my vision board, like my first vision board. But it's this woman who she looks like super put together, but she's like at a workstation, not like, computer workstation, but like a art workstation. Like she looks like an interior designer or something. But like she's like the put together version of me if I were to put myself together. And so like I literally with my tripod, I'll have my cell phone and then have the picture of her because I have like the wallet, so the wallet part's hanging down, and have it like taped on there. So it's like I'm talking directly to her. And so that helps. So like if you're a therapist and you're used to talking to people going through the worst experience of their life, you can look into that camera lens like you would look at your patient and talk to them. And it could be a minute, it could be 5 minutes, it could be, and I know part of therapy is like listening. It's not necessarily like speaking, but like that's part of how you're going to get a wider reach is to connect with more people. And I think that that could be really helpful. And I'm rambling.
I love what you said about like, the run-on sentences and like the human things. Like one of these people, I went to one of her webinars and, she had like typos on the PowerPoint or whatever. And she's like, if you don't see typos, then I've been kidnapped by aliens because like typos are a thing and they're going to be there and get over it. And I mean, it was just such a personality thing. I instantly was like, she's my person, right? Like, because I'm like, this is totally my place to be. So yeah, I think like letting the humanness be in your content is going to be like the biggest way to stand out going forward because that's what AI can't do. AI can make all these Barbie videos. Like I don't know if y'all seen Angry Barbie or whatever or cussing out Barbie. It's actually hilarious. I see why it has millions of followers, but yeah, I mean, but Angry Barbie can't do it. She's, that they can't bring that soul. Like all these like random lifestyle influencer AI people that they've been rolling out. I mean, it's kind of crazy how much fake but real looking content is out there. So the thing that you have to bring is, that thing that that the AI just does not have, which is the soul. So I think if you're feeling like overwhelmed or any, because again, I have not been online very actively, although I'm working on that, guys. So you'll be seeing me a little bit more on Instagram and stuff. But if you are like, you don't want to do like a lot of content all the time, just kind of think about at least like your rabbit hole. Like, what does that look like? What are the top things that you want people to, know and find when they find out more about when they find you online? And just kind of map out like 3 to 5 like really solid pieces of content that can be like, for someone to binge. And you can put that on YouTube. And I mean, yes, the algorithm probably likes consistency and they want you to be there all the time, but it's better to have a YouTube channel that has some really bingeable, good content for someone who finds it, because they're going to search. Your stuff can still pop up on search, whether you posted it today or 10 years ago. That's why YouTube is a good one. um or if you have a podcast, obviously you have to be more regular. But like, again, if you're feeling like non-committal, I don't know, my non-committal heart is reaching out to those I feel like I'm called to talk to right now. So if you are like, I don't want to be creating weekly content, I don't want to be doing the content hamster wheel, just at least put some effort, like, in that front end, to just set up that rabbit hole so that people can find the right things that you want them to find that will help them take the next step and work with you.
Exactly. When I was thinking about the Success Secret Society, like I was trying to plot out like the lead generation, like where people could come from. So I'd like to talk about like different ways now that you can create content and how it can be like a revenue generator too. So like one of the things that I'm doing is monthly success strategy workshops, and they're actually like live Zooms. And so I have a framework that I go through, and it's a way for people to define success on their own terms, and it's different for everyone. But that's a lead generator. I'm also doing like in-person co-working sessions. And so these things are paid. It's like $10 or $15. But I also want to create like, a 30-minute workshop kind of based off the success strategy workshop, create something where people can download it. So they go to a link, they download it. And I'm looking at Stan Store. I mentioned that to you, Karen. I don't know if you've taken a look at it at all, but I've been experiencing that a little bit just from stuff that I've been buying on the interwebs. So having somebody download this, $17 product, a 30-minute guided workshop, and then that puts them in your funnel, and then staying in touch with them. And like Karen said, like you don't have to be consistent. You don't have to send them something every week, but it's like getting them into your orbit, because like with social media, we've all heard this and we've seen it. You don't own that channel. So whenever you are able to get somebody to opt in and to purchase something, you're getting access to their email. You have a direct line of communication with them. So if things hit the fan and there's absolutely no visibility at all, you still can like get in touch with them. I think it's like determining what it is you want to do with this content. Like, is it kind of altruism? Are you an expert and you want to get this information out because you know it could help people? Do you maybe want to start speaking at events so you can make more money? Because, like, if you write a book and then you go and do speaking engagements. I have friends who've made thousands and thousands of dollars for giving like a 20-minute keynote speech. And then they also sell the books at the event. And then that's putting you in front of a huge audience. And then you can like be on panels and you can, and like that might sound terrifying and everything, but it's like, what's your end goal? Do you just want to work one-on-one with people for the rest of your life? Yeah, I think having some clarity on like what it is you want to do, but like you can monetize this evergreen content and you can have it at different levels. And for me, it's like I want to have these systems to prevent like the feelings of people having access to me. Like, oh my God, she's so personable. Let me just DM her a quick question. Like, I need help with this, or how did you do that, or whatever, if you have better systems and structure, then there is kind of more of a divide between you and the people because they're like, oh, it's not appropriate to do that. So
Yeah, no, that makes sense though, because like you really you don't you have to train people like what to expect. And that starts with your content process, right? Like, yeah, I think you train them what to expect, like how available, how they can get in touch with you. So it makes perfect sense to have boundaries and have clear boundaries, even for yourself. Because we talked about that, probably, I'm sure we've talked about it or we'll talk about it more, but you have to do things in the way that works for you so that you can keep doing them. Like if you don't do them in the way that works best for you, you're not going to stick with it because you're going to get tired of people DMing you with questions. You're going to get, you're going to, oh, forget this. I don't want to be, this is not what I wanted it to be. I'm overwhelmed, too many people reaching out, or whatever the thing is that you don't want. So it is important to be clear about your strategy, outcomes, clear about the boundaries you want to have around, how you'll interact with people. The bottom line is you have to be human. You have to do what works best for you and have a strategy. Because if you don't have a strategy, then it really, what are you even posting content for, right? Like you have to know where it's leading to. And so I love how Marsha outlined, you outlined your clear, like these are the things that I'm offering. These are the steps that people can take. So that's what you want to make sure that you include. And like you always have a CTA, I don't care what it is, comment below, like this post, share it with a friend. It doesn't always have to be click a link or sign up for something, but you always want to be telling people to do a thing so that again they get trained to take an action when they interact with you and not just be a passive viewer. You want them actively engaged in the conversation in some kind of way. So yeah, this is a great episode. Hey friend, loving this combo?
Then don't keep it to yourself.
Hit that follow button so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling extra generous,
Leave us a quick review. It helps more women find the show, and it honestly means the world to us.